Welcome to the Library of Congress Call Numbers tutorial. If you have any questions about this content, please ask your friendly librarian. In this tutorial, we will cover what is a call number, why you need to know about call numbers, where you will find call numbers, and how to read call numbers. What do I mean when I say call number? You can think of a call number like a book's address. It tells you where a book lives on the shelf. Call numbers are found on the spine of books and are referred to in the book catalog. Our library uses a system called Library of Congress, which is the only system you will be required to learn. Working in the library, you will need to know both how to shelve books and where to find them. Knowing how to read and arrange call numbers is the key to doing both of those things. In order to locate a book or put a book on the shelf, you will need to be able to decipher the call number. Where do you find call numbers? There are two places where you will need to recognize call numbers. You will find them on the bottom edge on the spine of our library books, like in this image here of books on a shelf. And you will also find them in our book catalog. They are the letter and number combinations after the campus name, circled in purple here on this image. How do you read call numbers? Call numbers are always put in order from top to bottom. Therefore, you need to read each line in order. This means you must put the first line in order before any subsequent lines. The first line will be a letter or a combination of letters. The letters correspond to the big idea of the topic the book is about. For example, the SF section is about animals, so all the books with an SF call number will be on an animal topic. The first line is arranged in alphabetical order. A single letter will come before multiple letters. Once you have the first line of letters in a row, you can then arrange the second line in numerical orders. The second line is always a whole number. It may or may not have a decimal. Once you've arranged the first and second lines, you can move on to the third line. The third line begins with a decimal point, and then a letter, and then some numbers. The letter comes first, so we arrange the letters in alphabetical order. In this instance, a .E would come before a .H, even if the number was bigger. The most important thing to remember about the third line is that it is a decimal number. One trick to doing decimals is to add as many zeros as you need after the number to make up the amount of places. Then you can easily see which one is bigger. In this example, .E48769 is actually a smaller number than .E94, and so it comes first. If you think of the zero trick, 48,769 is still smaller than 49,000. This leads us to our final line. The final line is the year of publication. If all the previous lines are exactly the same for two books, then you put the earlier year first. This can happen with a previous edition of a textbook, for example. Note, often you will find call numbers with another line of letters and numbers between the third and fourth lines. Treat these numbers the same as you would the third line. That is, alphabetize them and put them in numerical order. These lines will also be decimal numbers when you come across them. Sound good? All right, let's practice. Here we have 5 call numbers on our shelving cart, so let's put them in order. Remember, we work from top to bottom. So, let's look at the first line of all of these call numbers. Let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 PSAs and 1 lone P sitting over here. Since we know that they have to go in alphabetical order, this lone P would definitely come before these PS's. So that is going to be the first one on our cart. Let's move it. All right. Now that we have our first line are all the same, that means we're going to have to move to our second line. Looking at the second line, we can see that 3 of them are the same number, and only one of them is different. So noticing that this is a 76, and the other ones are 3,551, we can safely assume that PS76 will come before any of these 3 other call numbers. So we can take the PS76 and put it in our second slot. Doing good so far. Let's keep going. Since the first line and the second line of all of them are the same, it's time to move on to the third line. If we look at the third line, we will notice that they are all .N464, which means they're all the same. That happens sometimes, and when that does happen, we just go down to the next line. So now we're on the fourth line, and we will notice that we have to do them like we would have done the third line. So we look at the letters first. We've got a Z, we've got a Z, we've got a Z. Well, if they're all Z's, we have to go on to the number. Now, keep in mind that these are decimal numbers. So, looking at the decimal number, we have a .476, a .64, and another .64. If we put them in order from smallest to largest, .476 is actually the smallest of these numbers, and so it's going to go next. So we can put this one on the shelf. That leaves us with 2 call numbers left. Since they both are .64s, that means we have to go down to the final line, the date line. So, if we look at the year of publication, we have 2004 and 1994. Luckily, they're not the same number, so we can put them in order. You always put those in numerical order as well, so 1994 comes before 2004. And now we have arranged our shelving cart. Getting books in order on the shelving cart is usually pretty easy once you get the hang of it. But what do you do when you get to the shelves filled with books? If you keep the principles we just practiced in mind, you will be able to shelve any book in the library. This decision tree can help you in the stacks when you get stuck, or you can always ask a librarian for an assist. If you didn't get a copy of this with your training materials, or you need a new one, they're at the circulation desk. Just ask. You can always ask any librarian if you get stuck or if you find something weird. Now, let's test your knowledge. Please click on the link to be directed to a short quiz. You're encouraged to use this video, the decision tree, or any notes you have to answer the questions. The only thing you can't use is a librarian or a fellow work-study student. Good luck!